Hello guys, welcome back. I wanted to give you a little update on something. So we know recently, Bitcoin's been pumping big. It went to like about $19,400 or 14,000. I think it was £14,600. But different exchanges vary by a few hundred here and there. We know that all of these big pumps have been coming in because of these big institutions entering, like for example PayPal. It was what was the other one? MicroStrategy, Square, which is owned by Twitter, the Twitter founder. So you've got quite a few of those, and then we had a big pump, and the pump took us the total market to 481 billion last week before the big dump. Now, when the big dump happened up to Friday, so I was monitoring the markets rather than monitoring one individual coin, because you have to see the bigger picture. So I'm looking at the macro and I'm thinking, let me see what's going on here. Let me see how this big picture looks like. So when I went to the market cap, I realized that 81 billion dropped, right? So, clearly someone took it out or whatever, took it off the exchanges. It could be anything, right? So $81 billion vanished from the total market, which brought the market to 500 billion. And then the magic started to happen from Friday night, actually Thursday night to be precise. So the first just after midnight Thursday, Friday, as soon as we hit that AM, we saw the market move up, right? So it moved up to 501 billion, 504 billion, 503 billion, and then yesterday it went up by like 20 billion, so it was 520 billion, and then today it's sitting at 540 billion as of speaking on this video right now, right? So it's 540 billion. So I've just seen 40 billion come back into the market. And we know that when the 81 billion dropped, the market Bitcoin price changed by around 12%. And then now it's like $40 billion has come back in, so the market has gone up by 5-6%, which is quite funny. That means money mostly left Bitcoin and re-entered Bitcoin, which is good, right? It's a bullish thing. And then today we had a news that it was announced yesterday on one of the international newspapers that another company is just been approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission in America, that they can now invest $500 million into Bitcoin, because obviously bureaucracy, right? Politics. It's a free market. Who gives a damn about SEC or whatever, right? You just fucking want to enter your money, just enter it. Excuse my language, but that's the truth, right? But unfortunately, in the corporate world, you have to follow the rules, because if you don't, right, you'll get penalized, you get fined, you get this, you'll be tagged as a money launderer, whatnot, right? So this is what they do to prevent you from making more money or investing money. This news is very, very good, right? So 500 billion coming in, and you're going to see it on Monday, Tuesday, probably. You'll see how Bitcoin does a nice little spike. The other thing I wanted to mention was there was another news just over the weekend, right, which created a little bit of drama, a little bit of old news, I would say, that there was this scam, this Ponzi scam in China called Plus Token, and the Chinese government did stop them, which is a very, very good thing. They stopped them. They tracked down all the wallets where all the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, this, that, whatever were actually deposited, and they managed to get it all back, and the government seized it and took it. Now, a lot of people thought that was the reason. It's got nothing to do with it. It was only 4.2 billion in today's value, right? I mean, 4.2 billion in today's value, that's nothing. Remember, 80 billion, right? So when you look at 80 billion and look at that, it's only 5% of the share that went. So that's not what the big mover was. And also, if the Chinese government decides to go and dump 4 billion, right? Decide to dump 4 billion on the market, it's nothing. It's just a drop in the ocean. The reason being is because it's a bull market. Although, I've seen 30-40 billion moving in a day, right? Buy and sell on Bitcoin alone every single day, right? So when you're seeing 30, 40 billion, it's only a small percentage. And I'll tell you one thing, if China goes to sell that 40 billion, then there are plenty of buyers out there, including myself, to pick it up, right? Because it's only going to be a drop in the ocean, as I said to you. So end of the day, I don't think the Chinese government are so stupid to sell on a bull market. I think they'll probably just hold it because it's a free opportunity. For them, it's free money. And if not, then they'll probably auction it. And if they do auction it, it'll probably be an OTC, a private sale. So they'll probably just take some cash over it. It doesn't change anything. I mean, you know what I mean? So they can't destroy it, because if they do, then we know they burnt it, which means it's good for the market, right? They can't sell it for any more than the market decides to buy for. So that's also a good thing. They can't sell it any less unless they sell it on the thing. And even, whatever they do, basically, let me just put it this way, Rob, whatever they do, it's all going to be a plus for us. So plus token scam actually worked out quite well for the Chinese government. Let's just leave it there, right? And it makes me more bullish on Bitcoin because of all of this. And then I want to talk about another thing as well. So now that the media is going to get all hyped, you know, you're going to have the newses, breaking out newses and everything. You'll have it on the headlines talking about Bitcoin. I mean, some news like articles and establishments have already talked about how Bitcoin surged almost to the all-time high, which was in 2017 December, and then it crashed, it plummeted down, and these big fancy words, right? They use. It's brilliant, right? But again, it was just a drop in the ocean. Why? Bitcoin has a habit of basically going down by 35, 40, 45%. You know, in fact, in 2019, right, it dropped by almost 80%. Sorry, 2017 to 2018, after the last time high, it dropped to about 80%. Even some people say as much as 90%. I mean, the market crashed by 90%, that was for sure. But Bitcoin dropped by 80%. So when you look at numbers like that, it just makes sense, right? So, you know, going down by 12%, nothing. But the funny thing is the bulls came back in and they said, do you know what? It's not the right time. Right now, we want to go up even further. So that tells me something, and, you know, that there's going to be a big hype going on. Now, what I wanted to, this whole video is dedicated to something else, actually. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of news, but most importantly, I really want you to understand something. Now you're going to see the hype. You're probably going to go on Google, Bing, or whatever search engine you use, and you're going to type in, you know, Bitcoin, or about Bitcoin, or buy Bitcoin, or sell Bitcoin, whatever, right? And Google's going to love it because it's going to go on Google Trends. But what you have to be very wary and very careful of, right, is that right now you're going to have a lot of these scam artists coming in, and they're going to put ads. So you'll find tons of ads on Google. So first few results that you're going to see are going to be ads. This is what I want to warn you. Do not click on any of those ads. Okay? Do not click any of those ads. Because if you want to invest, go through a friend, go through a family, go through someone who knows about the currency, ask them what they use, and use that exchange, or, you know, that means of entering the market. You know, don't go and click that ad, because you're going to have these companies come in, and not even company, most of them are just scams, right? They're going to say, oh, invest with us, buy with us, and this and that, and you're going to have a lot of money going away, basically. So I just want you to be careful that when the hype comes in, when everybody finally says, do you know what, now it's time, we do believe in the power, we do think this is the right time to enter, you're going to enter, and you're going to get some big profits. You're going to see some big profits, right, from these ad companies out there these companies who are advertising out there. And I'll tell you one thing, yeah, your money is just going to go, right? So these companies are going to be burning your money. These are all Ponzi scams, in my opinion, right? Well, Ponzi's are pyramids, but they're going to be all scams. You know, so don't follow any of those ads. If there's no ad, then yeah, maybe we want to look at one of those. But ultimately, the best strategy to re-enter the market, or enter the market if you're brand new, the best strategy, forget your app store, forget your Play Store, forget your whatever you got, right? Forget all those rankings, because anybody could do those. Where you want to be is go and find a friend, all right? Go and find a friend, make a call, right? Don't go 50-50. Trust me, this is not the time for you to go, okay, I'm going to chance it. I'm going to go on this ad. Seems to be legit, making the big promises. They're just making promises. There's nothing there to hold, right? So please be careful. Don't click the ads. They're useless. I mean, click the ads and burn the money for all I care, right? So make them lose money. But don't invest in these companies. Invest in something you know someone else has invested in. Okay, so remember what I said, right? Call a friend, or ask a friend, whatever. Ask the audience, right? One of those kind of things, like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing. Those are more powerful, right? Because you know someone who's there, who's established, they would do it. Anyway, so that was just a warning I wanted to give you guys. That was the most important thing why I wanted to make this particular video today. Oh my God, it's so foggy, it's unbelievable. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. And also with Bitcoin, my stance of what I said the other day, that I believe Bitcoin could drop by 20%. I do still believe in that. So I'm still kind of out. I have made some more Bitcoin with my altcoins, so that's my strategy, make more Bitcoins with shitcoins. So I have done that, but other than that, I haven't really bought any Bitcoin. However, I do have a few orders placed basically. So I've put my cash in the exchange. I've put my buy orders at specific price points that I think it will go. So my buy points are like 15% below the the high, this year's all-time high, which is 19,400. So it's 15% below that. I have one. Then I have another one at 20% below that, and then the third one I have is 25% below the all-time high. So I'm keeping it like that. And another thing, don't confuse yourselves, because whenever you go to see the markets and you see like, oh, the market's up by 5%, market's down by 10%. Remember one thing, guys. The data you're seeing is an average of the last 24 hours. So if the market is up by 5% in the last 24 hours, it doesn't necessarily mean the market is up to the last level or where it dropped from. So remember, we dropped 12% from the all-time high, which was 19,400, and 5% up doesn't necessarily mean that basically we're 5% up to the original level. So just be careful of certain analytics and understanding. So always look carefully, be vigilant, and then you'll understand more. So yeah, for me, I still think there's a big chance. I think this is just a basic fake out. But the market has gone up. The bulls are definitely trying. I do believe the bulls are trying, and I think a lot more bulls are going to come. But unfortunately, we do still have some bears. If everybody was bullish, it would be a whole different ball game. I mean, we'd be going to the moon right now. And then you got to also understand that there's so many different products out there as well, like leverage trading, margin trading, all of those kind of things, futures contracts, there's ETFs coming, all sorts of other stuff, right? So when it comes to things like that, they are kind of also manipulating the price. If we didn't have any of those, and if everyone just bought and sold, Bitcoin would be going to the moon right now as we speak, right? So that's there. And then you've got loads of price predictions. I mean, some people are saying it's going to be like 100k, it's going to be 200k, it's going to be 300k. That's all good. I mean, I like the optimism, right? It's very, very good. I'm not being pessimistic. I've already given my figure. It's on another video, you can see it. But other than that, I think Bitcoin has a good chance of testing the all-time high again. When it does, at that point, it might drop a little bit, but I do still expect the 20% drop. I'm not sure when it's going to come, but I do expect the 20% drop, and I'm ready to buy at those figures. As I said, I'm ready to buy at 15%, I'm ready to buy at 20%, I'm ready to buy at 25 on the worst case scenario. If it goes below that, then all I'm going to do is just get some more cash and buy whatever I can, basically. But those are my kind of optimistic price points that I want to enter, and I know that it's going to be really good for the Bitcoin. So that's that. What else did I want to talk about? Right, okay, let's talk about finance, a little bit about finance, right? So again, I'm just going off the top of my head, right? I want to just make you understand a few things. In the UK, since March, since the first lockdown, we know that the government has put stimulus packages and basically printed money in order to help everybody, which is really good stuff, right? The government being noble in that sense, right? Trying to do something. And I'm quite skeptic on who they help and what they help, right? So ultimately, look, it benefited all these big, large companies. And I want to talk about one particular thing that I kind of disagree with. This term that they use, companies are too big to fail. So what happens when a company is too big to fail? The governments will go in, the central banks will go in, and they'll bail them out, right? I don't agree with that. I think that companies who become big and can't succeed should be allowed to fail, and make opportunities for new companies, right? This is how we can have good economic growth. We can't just have it one direction. And ultimately, these companies too big to fail usually become zombies, and all you're doing is just putting money into it and flooding it with money, and the stock prices just stay the same. You're just trading some zombie trades, right? But ultimately, what I want to say is, as a global economy, we should be giving opportunities to new companies, new innovations, making those kind of things, because the little boy has no chance, right? So we need to make sure the underdogs, they can come out and they can do a few things, and I think they'll come out with far greater greater innovation and projects and proposals. So definitely you want to look into those kind of things, and give me your thought on what you think about that. So I basically think that the underdogs need to have a chance. If there's a company who's too big and who's not sustainable, who can't really do business, right, or stuck in the past, right, who's not innovating or anything like that, they should go, right? Full stop. They should go, and opportunities for new innovative companies should be made. That's my opinion on that part. Also, another thing I wanted to point out, so I was saying, how Britain was printing billions of pounds, but what you have to understand is how, if you go back and check how much money they printed, and I think it was 204 trillion, right? They printed so far. So just look at that. That's 204 trillion pounds was printed. And remember, I always mentioned, right, if you look at the numbers, 204 trillion printed here, and USA printed 2.4 trillion, and USA printed 3 trillion. Because of that, the pound to dollar ratio didn't really change. But I am seeing some significant, I think UK is now kind of slowing down on the money printing, and US is not. And the reason I say that is because I think Joe Biden, when he comes in, he's got plans to actually increase the money supply, which means I think he's going to print a few more trillion. That could see a significant drop in the dollar to pound ratio. So for me, if I was to do a trade on the money, I don't do foreign exchange trades that often. It's like a once in a blue moon thing. But right now, I'm very, very bearish on the dollar. And I think it will be a sweet trade just to short as many dollars as possible, because it's going to be worthwhile. We know the dollar's just going down. I mean, I've seen dollar lose points pretty much every day, and it's not sustainable unless they somehow falsifying the information, which I don't think is the case. I just think the dollar is definitely losing value because of how much they're printing, and currently a lot of the countries in the world have stopped noticing that it's not going to help their GDP for a very long time. So looking at the macro, okay. So yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to do a dollar trade, then I think basically right now, that's my opinion anyway. I'm not a financial advisor, but definitely dollar, it would be a short call, would be a great thing, great investment there. Whereas when it comes to Bitcoin, right now I'm on the sidelines. I want to see Bitcoin break the all-time high. So even though I've got my trade set up to buy when it goes low, I really don't want it to go that number. I want it to go up. I want it to break above the previous all-time high. I want it to confirm that break. Once it confirms that break, then I can tell you one thing: I'm going on a long trade, and let's see where it goes, how far it goes. So I'm going to definitely do a margin trade and long Bitcoin. and see where it goes. But other than that, right now I'm just into accumulation phase, so I'm just accumulating as much as possible, and I'm using the alts to accumulate as much as possible. So that's one of the things. Also, oh, by the way, I wanted to quickly, before I forget, whenever you want to accumulate Bitcoin, one thing you have to understand, you have to figure out how to calculate the value in Bitcoin's value. So not in your pound or dollar, because those are different. And I'll see if I can show you a little screenshot of something that I can take. And this is quite funny, where the Bitcoin price is different for that same currency. So it could be negative 5%, but the pound value or the dollar value would be like positive 4%. So you're spending £4 more to buy it, but actually if you bought it with Bitcoin, it's cheaper. And these are the numbers that I think I follow, because I've noticed a lot of people are trading with USDT, which causes this particular issue, where you're buying with USDT, it's giving you a value based on that dollar peg, but you're not actually seeing the Bitcoin value, right? And those are the little gems I look for. So I'm always looking at, okay, what can I buy on discount with Bitcoin? So I buy it with Bitcoin, and then when I see that it's gone up by 2% with Bitcoin, I literally sell, and 2% over a big sum is quite a bit, right? So I can make a few hundred to a few thousand depending on the day, just on those kind of things. And I'm not making money. So this is what you got to understand, right? A lot of people, I tell people, I say, look, I don't like to make money, right? People think you're making money. No, I'm not. I'm not making money. I'm making more Bitcoin, right? Because for the longer term, I know that Bitcoin is only going one direction. So for me, it's going to be a lot worth making as much Bitcoin as possible. I mean, if Bitcoin, for example, these crazy numbers that they're throwing, like Bitcoin's going to hit 300,000, Bitcoin's going to hit 200,000. If it does, then I can tell you this much, basically, even if I have one Bitcoin, I've done all right. So if I can accumulate as much as possible with my alts at this present moment, then I'm going to do all right. I don't need to be in a Bitcoin, because being in a Bitcoin, I'm actually blocking my finances. So, because it could go up, it could go down, but I'm still blocked, and my capital is blocked. But being in like 50, 60, for me, I'm in 400 different currencies, cryptocurrencies, right? And it could be as little as 10 quid. There is a few that I have just as little as 10 quid, to anything in the number of thousands, basically. But the point is I want them to grow in percentage of Bitcoin. And if they can capture more Bitcoin, even when Bitcoin goes down, then I'm doing all right. I'll give a good example of that, actually. So there was this mega hype by Richard Hart, who owns Hexcoin. And so I followed him, I'm watching him, and I've been following him some time now, actually, since he started talking about it, because I was quite intrigued. I was like, okay, let me see what he's talking about. But guess what? I did not invest a penny, right, when he launched. Did not invest a penny. He done his payout, he done his everything, all the hype died out, right? And then the whole thing crashed. Literally crashed to like pennies, or not even pennies, it was less than pennies, right? It was like 2% of a penny or something, or 1,000th of a penny or something like that. So I went in and I said, you know what, I need to buy a few thousand, right? So just for the sake of it, I bought 20 quid's worth. And for 20 quid, I think I got like, I think if I'm correct, I got somewhere around the region of about 9 or 10,000 coins or something like that. I didn't care. It's just one of those. It's just basically I've left it there. I don't really care where it goes, but I bought it because it was right at the bottom. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it climbs up. Maybe everything he said about his coin over the past 2-3 years is true. If it is, what better time to buy? Well, right now, actually. So I bought it, and then last few days I've seen it rise by almost 40% in Bitcoin value. So in obviously in power and dollar value too, but in Bitcoin value raised about 40%. That means that if I bought 10,000 pounds worth, or just basically one Bitcoin's worth, currently my Bitcoin would have been worth 1.4 Bitcoin, right? It's just basic maths, right? So this is the kind of stuff that I look for. These are the little gems I'm looking for, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go and put more money into Hexcoin. It's fine. I mean, right now market's bullish, everyone's bullish, people are dumping money in altcoins. It's all good, but just trying to point out that sometimes you see something, it hypes, it goes down. You know, you might want to just test it with 20 quid, 100 quid, right? It's something that you don't really mind losing, right? So that's what I did, and I've seen the differences, but I don't regret that I didn't go in with more, because, you know, it's there for a test. I've just left it there. But just to give you a rough idea, there are coins out there where you can make these 30-40%, like Stellar Lumen's XRP the other day. You know, I bought XRP. The first time I bought XRP, they were like 20p or 25p. Sorry, so they were 25 pence. So 25 pence, I bought them quite expensive. Then the price crashed and it went all the way down to, like when I bought the second time, they were like 18 or 19 pence. So during 18-19 pence, I was feeling a bit confident. I said, you know what, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of them. So I bought a whole bunch of them. It dropped even further, right? So I didn't re-enter again. I didn't buy anymore. I said, okay, I think that's a fair price for me to be in. Now I don't care whether the market goes up or down, because I can afford to lose it. So I've gone in willingly that I'm going to, I might lose it. And if I make it, then I make it, right? So I just left it there. I've done all right. I mean, currently it's sitting at 46 or 47 pence. Last I checked today. That means I'm in a nice little profit, right? You know, I've definitely made 50%, or well, kind of more, because if it's 45p, then I'm like 80% up. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of little gems, right, I look at. But then when I stop the money thing and I look at the Bitcoin value, then I'm like 15% up. So I'm happy. So I've just made 15% more Bitcoin with that particular thing. Those are the kind of things I'm looking at. So market could go up or down, it doesn't matter. If you want to make money, then look at your money. But if you want to make your more Bitcoin, then that's what you do. You look at the percentages that each one of these coins can give you. And over time, if these coins gain more percentage over Bitcoin, then, you know, that's what you do. Like, so, you know, 10 grand, as I said, or one Bitcoin would have made me 40% more. That's not a bad deal, is it? So I would have made 40% more Bitcoin just by sitting on one Bitcoin with thing. But it's a risk, you know, and I'm not willing to take big risks. So for me, I do play wisely. I never put all my eggs in one basket. I always like to, any amount I go in. So I have a formula. I either split it in 10, either split it in 5, and worst case scenario, I'll split it in 4, right? And I'll tell you where my worst case scenario is. Bitcoin. Usually when I see Bitcoin price going down, then whatever I want to spend, I usually split it in 4, and I have 4 price points I'll go in and basically just enter with those kind of things. But it's just a little micro strategy that I have, basically, where I will use that kind of a dollar cost averaging to re-enter the market, because you never know where it's going to go. Also, there are times when I do sell Bitcoin, right? So when I'm going to go around and I'm going to sell Bitcoin, and I have target points for selling. So again, when I sell it in stages. I don't sell it in one go. Just because Bitcoin's gone to like, oh, 20k, I'm going to sell. Oh, then somebody comes and, you know, or Bitcoin now jumps up to 25k. I need to be ready for that as well. So when I sell percentages, right? So it's the same strategy that I have. I have a maximum price prediction that I will have. So it could be, like, for now, I could say, okay, Bitcoin's going to go to £18,000. I'm going to take 50% out at £18,000. Then Bitcoin decides to climb up even further, and I'm thinking, well, that's my max. Well, I'm going to take, you know, 20% of that. Then I say, well, hold on. Now I think basically Bitcoin's going to go up even further. I'll take up a little bit more. So the same strategy that I use to exit the market, I use to buy also. So it's the same. It's just the polar opposite, right? So when I'm buying, you know, a little stash at a time, at different price points, and when I'm selling, I'm also selling at different price points. This way I get to maximize on my profits. Or you can argue with me, I'm not really maximizing, but look, I have no idea of where the market's going to go. I have no idea how high the price is going to be and how low the price is going to be. So I'm not willing to take the gamble, and in my opinion, I'm not being greedy either. You know, if I've made a significant amount of profit buying a Bitcoin, holding a Bitcoin, trading a Bitcoin, then ultimately it outweighs all the negatives and positives out there. I just want to be in the mutual, right? You know, I'm happy owning one Bitcoin, regardless it's worth £5, or regardless it's worth £50,000. You know what I mean? Because for me, it's just owning one Bitcoin. So I have different fundamentals when it comes to these kind of things. Anyway, guys, I know it's a long one. It's about 30 minutes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to make videos a lot more shorter in the in the coming future, and we'll see how we go from there. But other than that, it's getting dark. Bloody hell, UK is getting dark. It's only what, 4 o'clock now. But what can you do, right? It is brilliant after all. Take care, guys. Look after yourself.